topic. Hi, everyone. Hi. This is Katy Milkman. She is a behavioral scientist at the Wharton School, and she hosts a podcast called Choiceology, and this is her new book, How to Change, which literally changed my life. It's a practical toolkit to kind of help yourself make better decisions for your future self, which I don't know why is so completely hard. My present self is very impetuous, but anyway.
You're normal, don't worry about it.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. Could you just, if there's any, like a couple, maybe if you could talk a little bit about who you are and your research, just give me your quick bio and then share your secret for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a professor at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, and I'm also the author of this book, How to Change. I run a research center on the science of behavior change, and also host a podcast for Charles Schwab called Choiceology. And the book is really about my life's work, which is trying to understand what are the tools and tactics that we can use to help us achieve our goals more successfully, on everything from habit, which has, I think, been written about a lot, to some underappreciated topics that really aren't related to habit, just changing motivation in various ways so that we can get things done. And the key insight, I think, at the heart of the book, besides just providing a lot of tools that are hopefully useful, I'm so glad you found it useful, is that in general, we spend too much time looking for sort of bright, shiny, nice sounding solutions to achieve our goals, and not enough time actually thinking about what specifically is the obstacle holding me back here, and then trying to match the tactics we deploy to that obstacle. So for instance, a really common barrier to change is that it's not fun. It's unpleasant in the moment, and we tend to focus more on our instant gratification than on delayed rewards. And so once we realize that, we can actually use a bunch of different insights from science to make it more enjoyable in the moment to pursue our goals. And that helps a lot. So
I framed for a while going to the gym, when you could go to gyms, that it was like going to the spa because they had a hot tub. And even though it was a really disgusting hot tub, it was just like, oh, I'm going to the spa. I'm treating myself. And then I would, of course, there was a McDonald's across the street, and I would like treat myself to a McFlurry afterwards, which kind of anyway, Katy, I am interested in why you chose this secret, and I'm interested, will you tell us your secret?
Sure. Yeah. When you asked me for a secret, then what came to mind was that despite writing actually a lot in the book about things I learned from being an athlete, I was a very competitive tennis player in high school. And I also played Division I college tennis. My secret is I hated tennis and I hated competitive sports, even though it was a huge, huge part of my identity for the first portion of my life. And I guess I picked that because I think it's important to recognize some things that we see other people achieving, success in, that we see other people doing, they aren't loving. Sometimes it's not all joy and fun, even though we expect it to be. And that I think is a through line of a lot of research on behavior change, is that often it's not a joy to achieve our goals. And I think, I probably made a mistake. That was an optional activity. I stuck to something that I really hated that was truly supposed to be enrichment for much too long. So I'm really proud that I finally quit in halfway through college because it wasn't a source of pleasure. But I think a lot of us make similar mistakes, and it's really important to acknowledge and know.
Can I ask, well, the explanation of your secret, it makes so much more sense why you would choose that secret, but what didn't you like about it?
It was just a source of so much anxiety and stress. I was so constantly worried about, would I beat this opponent, or, would I perform up to expectations? And I wasn't enjoying the moment to moment athletic pieces of it. The competition also brought out a side of me I really didn't like. I'm very competitive. Mm-hmm. And, I felt like a nasty person when I was playing on tennis on the court. It's like a side of me that exists, but I'd rather not see. And I'd rather, suppress as much as possible, or put put to good use, like to try to solve important social problems with science instead of beat some person who, who cares who wins that match. So I think those are the reasons it was a mismatch for me. And I know some people, we're in the middle of the Olympics, lots of people love competing, but some people hate it. And I did it for the wrong reasons. I did it sort of because it became wrapped up in my identity. So many friendships were tied to the sport, as opposed to because it was actually a source of joy.
Well, I mean, I think that's huge that you were able to recognize those things and also take the steps. It's really brave to leave something that's so embedded in your personality. So
I don't know that it was that brave.
Oh,
I just want to say there's a lot of braver things I've seen done, but for me, it was a big turning point. And I hope many people can find the things in their life that they're doing for the wrong reasons and figure out how to leave them behind and do things that will enrich them more.
I just feel like for me, it's like the worst thing in the world to let other people down, or it feels just horrible. And I think that in that sense of like having this competitive, like I'm assuming you had quite a bit of success in tennis. And so like I don't know if you had familial expectations and self expectations and friendship. That's just huge to kind of pivot at that point. Really quick, we didn't talk about this on the Instagram Live, but how do you feel about gamification of things that you like job
stuff? Gamification is a really interesting way of trying to make it more fun and instantly gratifying to do things that are in your long-term best interest. So theoretically, it seems like it should work, but it turns out the research is really mixed on the benefits of gamification. And I think as I sort of dug into it and learned more about it as I was writing the book, that the key challenge is if it feels like forced fun or like someone else is sort of imposing this on you from above, like in an organization to try to get you to achieve the organization's goals rather than your own goals, it can backfire in a serious way because you may not actually find that it makes the work you're trying to do any more instantly gratifying. You may feel manipulated instead. And so it doesn't seem like it's very effective in workplaces. However, there's pretty good results when it comes to a goal you yourself are trying to achieve, like to exercise more, meditate more, learn a new language on an app like Duolingo. When you're bought in, making things fun can help. But when it feels imposed, that's when it seems not to work. So it's probably not the greatest tool a manager could deploy to try to help someone they're working with achieve more. It's probably a self-guided tool that's going to be more useful in that context.
I've been definitely thinking about it for self purposes and also for my relationships in terms of trying to figure out how to make things fun for Margaret and to make things into a challenge or a game, something that she might find interesting, which after like no nights of sleep, like reframing everything as a game seems like pretty daunting, but I'm gonna figure it out. Anyway, Katy, thank you so much. Everybody should get a copy of this book, or, I mean, there's lots of, you're on lots of podcasts. You host your own podcast. Check Katy Milkman out because she's great. And thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Take care. Have fun in California.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it.